Fun fact: I was supposed to be writing a comic when I wrote the script. Yesterday, or at the time of recording this, yesterday, I even cussed out my friend saying I was doing shit for college. And so I couldn't write that, which was also true. I also did need to do some stuff for college, but instead I wrote the script for this video. There's a lot of stuff I needed to do when writing this. However, I need to get this out there and get it off my chest because if I don't, I'm pretty sure I won't be able to move on from high school and the shit I went through in high school. This isn't a video essay about Fallout or like anything going over like the intricate story of Fallout or anything like that. The internet would classify this as a quote unquote trauma dump, but what I went through wasn't traumatizing, or at the very least, it hasn't had an impact that has lasted as long as something traumatizing, right? Or something I classify as traumatizing. Instead, I call this a personal account of my horrible experience in both middle and high school, and how Fallout went from something that should have been a phase to an important part of my life. This is Therapy Reviews, the series where instead of reviewing products from an objective standpoint, I review products from an emotional standpoint. This story starts in middle school. It sucked. It felt like I was taking shots from everyone, and not in the funny, they're joking with me, taking shots way, but in the we're assholes and we're going to make your life a living hell kind of way. It sucked. I honestly have no idea how didn't go insane from like that just entire period of my life. I discovered Fallout in like 7th grade through 76 and enjoyed 76. One thing to know about my whole emotional journey, and like this is the emotional review for 76, right? Is the fact that I proved that my friend at the time and friend of the YouTube channel right now, the only left, was a real friend of mine. I said that a lot. But yeah, I proved that the only left, which by the way, his channel's in the description below. Go give him a subscribe. Um, it proved that he was a friend of mine because he was willing to play Fallout 76 with me, and this was like around the time when everyone sort of started realizing that it sucked. So anyone who wanted to play Fallout 76 with me proved that they're a real friend of mine, right? But yeah, I loved 76 a lot, and apparently it was the worst in the series, so I decided to pick up New Vegas, the best in the series, because if I thought 76 was good, I can only imagine how good New Vegas was. I beat New Vegas in 8th grade, and I thought it was a pretty dope game. I didn't think it was the best of all time, however, I liked it enough to buy all the DLCs. And the context that I played the DLCs with was that I was afraid however horrible middle school was, I was afraid it was going to be like I was afraid high school was going to be like that, right? I was afraid high school was going to be a repeat of middle school. That was like a genuine fear I felt in my heart when I went in to play these DLCs. I beat every single DLC within the span of 5 days, giving an extra two to Old World Blues because it's hard as all frick. And within that span, the theme of letting go was beaten over my head, right? Each DLC discussed why we should let go and move on and why it's healthy. You guys can probably see where this is going. Beating this gave me faith that high school would be better and that I shouldn't hold on to the pain of the past, that I should let go, that going from middle school to high school was, a chance to, begin again, like it was all that, right? And that moment started my Fallout phase. That's when it went from a game that I thought was good to like a phase, right? Notice the use of the word phase. We'll get to that later. But this moment was also enough to convince me to buy the other Fallout games 4 and 3 because I couldn't play 1 and 2. I didn't have a computer or a gaming computer at the time, and I already had 76. So yeah, I loved Fallout during that time. That was the start of my phase. And if you couldn't tell, I've told this story before, right? If you couldn't tell from like my tone and the fact that I skimmed over a bunch of stuff and the fact that it wasn't as hard hitting as you'd think it'd be, me telling a story about how I was relentlessly bullied in middle school and Fallout sort of saved me from that, right? Like if you couldn't tell, I've told this story before. I wrote a more in-depth version of this story for my newspaper, and when I eventually reveal my identity a year from now, I might put it in the description below. It was more in depth, but like it also focused purely on how Dead Money did it, right? Because had I described all the DLCs, that story would have been long. But yeah, that's important because on top of me having told that part of the story before, that's the only part of the story I've told anyone about my relationship with this game series. That entire story was stretched out, like I said, stretched out, went more in depth, and only talked about Dead Money, but I was able to get like a good like 20 paragraphs. I was able to get several paragraphs out of that, right? However, it was originally only supposed to be like 3 paragraphs, only like a fourth of the actual article. And the rest of it would have been what I'm about to tell you, which is how Fallout sort of saved me during my high school experience, right? Sometime in sophomore year. I've never told the rest of the story to anyone because I realized had I originally released it the way I wanted to originally, right? Which was in the context of like junior year, talking about how shitty sophomore year was and how Fallout sort of helped me there, right? Everyone would have, everyone, I wouldn't name names, but people definitely would have been sat down asking, why is Kang talking about you like this, right? So I just sort of left it at the bit that I told. But I am here today because I'm finally ready to just. I've already graduated from high school. A few of those kids subscribe to me, but those are the kids I actually freaking like. Those are the kids I actually like and could tolerate, right? And some of them aren't the kids I like, but it's whatever at this point. So I'm here today. I'm finally ready to tell the story because, like I said, if I don't tell this part of the story, I probably won't ever be able to get over high school at all and move on with the rest of my life. So, if you couldn't tell, high school for the most part also sucked. Middle school was way worse in my opinion, honestly, but high school had a lot going against it. And the main thing was essentially expectations versus reality, right? I was incredibly quick to like hold on to the begin again scenario, begin again message that New Vegas taught me because I was essentially being told that all the time. And it started with the fact that I was going to what they called a college prep school, but what I'll call a nerd school, right? Everyone kept telling me that this school was new. It was going to be smaller with like a smaller student body, right? So the teachers would be on the lookout for any assholes or bullies, right? And that it being smaller meant it was less area for them to notice, like anyone be, it would be less people for them to notice that they're being assholes, right? And since everyone there was a nerd, anyone would rarely be any assholes because nerds know what it's like to be hurt, so they're not going to hurt anyone else, right? If you couldn't tell from the context in which I've said this, that is not what happened at all. Turns out, if the meek inherit the earth, they'll end up just as bad as the people who they inherited it from. Freshman year, it was fine. I'll admit, freshman year was fine, right? School was new, and so was everyone, and everyone was just trying to acclimate to each other, so we're more willing to be friendly, right? Stuff really hadn't started ramping up. Sophomore year was when shit really started to turn up. It was horrible for me because it felt like middle school over again. It felt like people were coming at me in every which way, and the people weren't turned out to be secretly bad people or like be dating or being with secretly bad people, right? And the people I actually trusted and I thought I was friends with during freshman year turned around and stabbed me in the back. I went in the summer, like after sophomore year, feeling awful because of all of this, right? Wondering why. Wondering if, like, New Vegas had lied to me or something like that, or maybe, like, I read it wrong or something like that. So I went back to New Vegas, hoping to find something like I did that one time. And this was sort of when I gained a whole new understanding of the game, because I remember that playthrough, that summer playthrough specifically, everything finally clicked. Everything, I mean everything, all the previous playthroughs I had, my times with 3, Fallout 3, 4, and 76, the lore I had learned, all the video essays, everything clicked together. And after 2 years, I understood the very basic point of Fallout. Humanity sucks. When writing this part, like I always imagined it was when thinking about this part, I always imagined it was like Fallout, like had sat me down, like as like if it were a person, it was like Fallout sat me down, and essentially told me this: "I'm sorry things have ended up this way, and that line about letting go didn't quite apply to your current situation. So here's another piece of advice: humanity sucks. It will always suck, and you can't do anything about it. That's literally what we mean when we say war never changes. Humanity will always go to war with itself, no matter what. It's always going to be horrible and ugly, and there's nothing you can do about it, because humanity sucks." Think of the Brotherhood of Steel's transition from goody two shoes in Fallout 3 to absolute dickheads in Fallout 4. It's implied that it is your character that pushed them to be good, and yet in Fallout 4, they're dickheads who hate how good they were back then. Humanity sucks, it will always suck, and you can't change that. There's only two things you could do about it. The first being to laugh at how shitty it is. Fallout's more humorous tone taught me that. taught me that lesson, that first lesson, right? To look at how stupid everyone's behavior is and laugh at it. Our class was so small that we all knew each other, and yet we all thought we could afford to just act like assholes to each other, right? The way the friend groups were set up, they're all pointing fingers at each other, secretly talking shit behind each other's back, and saying how horrible and how mean the other people were without an ounce of self awareness. And thanks to Fallout, I was able to laugh at that, right? Laugh at that fact. Most of my days were spent coping, laughing at how stupid this entire situation was, right? Just laughing. And it felt better too, because anytime someone would say anything to me, I would just laugh at them because it's sort of like, well, you are kind of stupid. Why would I ever listen to anything you say about me, right? It was, yeah, Fallout helped me in that way. And, like, it was like realizing that Fallout helped me in that way, and it helped me feel better and it helped me survive high school in that one way. That is how something that was only supposed to last, wasn't even supposed to last after the end of sophomore year, became something important to me. Because, like I said, I wholeheartedly believe this is a phase, right? Like, whenever I went to Fallout that one summer to learn this lesson, where I learned this lesson, right? That was legit because I was bored. I was learning, well, hey, Fallout helped me last time. It can help me this time too, right? Like Fallout was on its way out whenever I played it that time. It was only supposed to be a phase. It wasn't supposed to balloon into like one of my favorite video game franchises, one of my favorite franchises. Heck, one of my favorite things of all time, right? And it was all thanks to that lesson and one other. But right now, right, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Right now, I've graduated, and I find myself drawn back to the very first lesson and the very first message that was given to me by this game. That I need to let go of the pain of the past, and graduating is a chance to start over, a chance to begin again. And right here, I just wrote "speak from the heart," so I'm going to speak from the heart. I wrote this because I'm kind of sort of having a hard time getting over it. This is really the last. This is hopefully going to be like the last puzzle piece to like getting over high school, if I'm moving on with my life into my adult life, right? And I just want to say, I mentioned earlier there are two things I could do about how horrible humanity is, right? The first thing is, of course, to laugh at it, right? But like that's more of an in the moment thing. Another thing is to go out and find the good people, the good factions, right? Because because like New Vegas, it has all the main players, right? You know, your Caesar Legions, your Yes Men, your Houses, your NCRs. But there's people beyond them, right? Those guys are flawed, but there are people who are less flawed than them that are like the minor factions or the companions, right? And I sort of saw that part as New Vegas telling me. So sure, you can laugh at them, right, when you're forced to deal with them. You can laugh at how stupid they are when you're forced to deal with them. Forced to deal with them being like the main quest of New Vegas, right, where you're forced to have to deal with them. However, whenever you're not like dealing with them head on, where you're not being forced to deal with them, go find people and go find the humans that don't suck, right? Go find the minor factions that do not suck. Go find your companions that respect you, right, and that don't suck either. And that's another huge part of me letting go, right, is having these friends. Like I said, I mentioned the friend of the channel, the only left, right? I have my cousin and this little Xbox party that I've been playing with for like a while, right? And I have my friend John, too, right? Like the guy I played D&D with, right? I have friends out here too who can help me get over it, right? I just really think that these guys, shout out to them because I really feel like these guys have helped me. Sorry, have really helped me get over high school, right? I hope you could really tell I'm speaking from the heart now because I've like am pausing and all that now. I wrote "speak from the heart" because I really don't know how to end this right, but like Fallout has helped me get over high school. Not only did it help me get over middle school, it helped me get over high school, right? And I feel, and that's sort of why I love it, right? I love Fallout because it manages to take a really crappy situation and make fun out of it and find the good in it, right? Where it says that humanity can't change. It also says go find the humans that are kind of good, while all the bigger humans, while all the major factions that you have to deal with probably won't change. You go find the good humans. The other humans hope they don't change either. It also says laugh at how stupid everything is, and I'm repeating myself now. I wrote this, like I said, because I wanted to get over high school, and I'm pretty sure, at the very least, saying this out loud. I don't know if I want to post this anymore or not, but at the very least, saying this out loud has helped me deal with it a lot. So thanks for that. This has been The Creator, and this has been Therapy Reviews. Thank you.